Gondor probably has the best wine in all of Middle Earth. So, if by the blood of your people, these lands are kept safe, here's how to drink like a Gondorian. All right, so if we go back to our overlay of modern Europe over Middle Earth, based on the premise that the Shire is centered in the south of England, we can see that that puts Gondor solidly in the Mediterranean. So when you think Gondor, think less Scottish Highlands like in the movies, and think more Monaco, Sicily. Croatia. Thus, all the wars. I mean, when you have weather that good, of course Easterlings, Southrons, Wainwriters, Variags, Haradrim, and the frickin' Corsairs of Umbar are always going to be trying to come in and occupy you. Mediterranean climates are as awesome for winemaking as they are for raiding because they provide enough sun for the grapes to fully ripen and often see significant influence from sea winds that allow those grapes to cool off and retain their acidity, producing super food-friendly wines, which would be a great pairing for the standard Gondorian diet of dry roasted chicken, super squishy tomatoes, and filicide. Based on all that, let's start by dividing Gondor's potential wine-growing regions into two distinct sections, Ithilien North and South, and Belfalas. Belfalas? For realty? That's just Belfast with a stutter. This is because, at our midway point, right at Minas Tirith at the eastern end of the White Mountains, we can imagine that all vineyards to the north will receive some, say it with me kids, rain, shadow, protection! From inclement weather and winds blowing in off the sea. Everything to the south will see significantly less protection, if any at all. Now, why is rain shadow protection important? Think of rain shadow as being like the veil of protection that Galadriel casts over Lothlorien, using her ring of power, Nenya, or, for all you Silmarillion freaks out there, the girdle of protection Melian casts over Doriath, using her powers as Amaya. These powerful veils of protection kept the dark forces of Sauron and Morgoth respectively at bay, allowing for Cadas Galadon and Menengroth to flower and thrive. Like these powerful veils of enchantment, mountain ranges act as natural barriers to the dark, encroaching powers that threaten optimal vine growth, like sea storms, errant winds, and Cthulhu. Different fandom? Different fandom. The north will no doubt be a cooler region. Those are the kind of hard-hitting insights you can come to expect from us here at Mid Earth Somm. Moderated by warm sea air being channeled into the gap between the White Mountains and the Efelduath, the mountains of shadow along the border of Mordor. Grapes will also have the influence of the river Anduin, which will act as a moderator, reflecting the sun up to the grapes and aiding with ripening, kind of like what we see in the northern Rhone Valley in France, the Mosel Valley in Germany, and Wachau, and Wachau. Actually, can we look that up real quick? And Wachau in Austria. In fact, northern Ithilien rests on almost the exact parallel as the North Rhone in France, which is fucking awesome. We could be seeing some peppery, gamey, dark-fruited Syrahs, waxy, oily marzipan blends of Marsanne and Roussanne, or some of the mysterious, perfumed, tangerine-laden stylings of Viognier. In the Atlas of Middle-earth, Karen Wynne Fonstad proposes sedimentary, meaning basically clay, sand, loess soils, with perhaps some limestone in the mix from the White Mountains, as well as some volcanic soils from the Efelduath. Those sediment-based soils would give our wines more opulence and fruit, while the limestone and volcanic soils would help lend structure. The Minas Tirith cellars are lit, and probably stupid expensive. This is the Monaco of Middle-earth. We always look at David Wenham like he's an arrogant prick, justice for Book Faramir. But gastronomically, he's naturally positioned and justified in being an elitist fuckwad. To the south, on the outskirts of Minas Tirith and the Emmen Hills, we might see a slightly warmer climate with more coastal wind influence. Here we could see Grenache blends dominate in classic GSM blends, like what we see in the southern Rhone Valley in France, famously in Châteauneuf de Pape, Paso Robles in California, or even the Rocks district of Milton Freewater in Oregon. All right, Belfalas, the Santa Barbara of Middle-earth. No, really. And just like in Santa Barbara, California, we have a transverse mountain range cutting west to east through the region. We have a Mediterranean climate. We have coastal towns built on generational wealth where no one has a job and just make weird swan art to pass the time. Looking at you, Dal Amroth. Karen Wynne Fonstad notes 3 soils for the region: limestone and volcanic from the White Mountains, and alluvial sediments to the south. Now, you've probably heard me say alluvial before. Basically, alluvial soils are super rich soils, seen in some of the most prized wine growing regions in the world. I'm talking Napa, Rioja, Châteauneuf de Pape, and Mendoza. Now, they're usually composed of sand, clay, silt, and gravel in regions where once fertile plains or rivers evaporated. All these factors together, the possibilities are limitless. We could have Italian varietals do well here, like Vermentino, Verdicchio, Montepulciano, Primitivo, and Fiano. Near to the ocean, near the hills of Pinot, we could see some incredible sites for cold climate Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, like what we have in the Santa Rita Hills of Southern California. Up north, we could see some warmer climates like Happy Canyon or Ballard Canyon and Santa Ynez. And now I kind of just think I'm just planning a weekend getaway for myself later this summer. Perfect homes for inky, decadent Syrahs, crisp lemon-tinged Sauv Blanc, and honeyed Semillon. Also, coastal raiders from Umbar. We know there's ample forests for wood because wood comes from forests.
Facts.
So we could totally be fermenting and aging in oak. Now, as an aside, while there is no direct note from Tolkien as to the type of wood in Gondor, it can be inferred that oak is present as the species does well in Mediterranean climates. And given that Gondor is seafaring, oak would be the most likely candidate. There's basically no other wood humans have used for shipbuilding other than oak. And we know that the Numenorians, a seafaring empire, settled Middle Earth just to get more wood. I mean, they weren't going to deforest their own island. No way. And to the north of Dol Amroth, in the region of Lamedon, just north of Calimbel, we have two mountain ranges running parallel, with a gap to the south to allow some cool air and alluvial soils. In other words, my bros, we have Middle Earth's very own Napa Valley. Napa, Napa. Never Sonoma. So bring on the creamy, rich Chardonnay, the rustic, enigmatic Zinfandel, and the extremely overpriced, but totally rad, Screaming Eagle Cab Sauv. There's just so much good wine that could be coming out of this region. It's overwhelming. I could totally understand why Sauron would want to conquer it. And in fact, I'm totally down. Well, for the wine part. Hey, thank you so much for watching. This is a brand new channel we're just trying out. I am actually a sommelier, and I am actually a huge Middle Earth nerd. If you like what you see and you want to see more stuff like this, please hit that like and subscribe button, and join us for more Mid Earth Somm in the future.